Those big wireless companies try to lure you in with a new phone just to lock you into a contract. Not Simple Mobile. If you have a great smartphone you love, you can get a powerful nationwide 5G network without the contract. Just text the word BYOP to 611611 to see if your phone's compatible. Simple Mobile. Out with the old, in with the simple. Message and data rates may apply. Visit simplemobile.com/privacy policy for privacy policy and the terms and conditions at simplemobile.com/terms and conditions. Compatible 5G capable device and SIM required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary. 5G network not available in all areas. 5G upload speeds not yet available.
Live life at your pace. Click the banner or go to visitwilliamsburg.com to discover how. Because here in Williamsburg, life moves at one pace, yours. Here, our waters are splashing and rejuvenating. Our history is for seeing and experiencing. Our theme parks are for riding and sometimes flying. And our great outdoors are yours for exploring and restoring. It's all waiting for you in Williamsburg. Book your trip today and live life at your pace.
Welcome to a special Social Suplex breaking news audio. Not really breaking news, but you know how it is here at the Social Suplex. We do as we do here. I'm Danny Kuchler. I'm here with my boy, One Nation Radio, AEW rapper, and extraordinaire, Rich Latta. How you doing, brother?
Glad to be here, man. Big subject, big topic here with Cody Rhodes, and glad to rejoin the show.
Yeah, it's not a great match generator, but it's actually it's a more important look at what actually is happening in the wrestling industry here, right? Because we saw like the whole Observer was like this thick.
The Observer was so long because it was the awards issue. So you're watching AEW dominate everything. They won like 22 awards, and then the Cody section is like, for people that get upset with Dave, like Dave he's so thorough. He's so like covered, like covers just every angle of the thing, even stuff that you're not sure really should even be in there. Like there was a section about Cody's possible political aspirations and how could this affect him. It's like, why is that in there? But Dave is Dave, so
yeah, Dave is
stuff
Dave.
Like that.
So we have to cover everything.
Yeah,
everything.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff.
We got a lot of stuff to cover. I sort of want to get into my theory, and I tweeted this out, my thread on Twitter, which I have pinned on my Twitter at DJD Kooks. I sort of think
let them know what happened first.
Cody Rhodes is leaving AEW.
Yeah,
that's the biggest story in wrestling as we speak right now. I sort of assumed if they're clicking on this, but I make an ass out of you and me. But my theory on this was Cody's days were numbered once Punk came in. CM Punk. He was no longer able to get the feuds he wanted. All he could do, he had to do was turn heel. He put himself out of the title picture with him losing that feud to MJF. We couldn't get Cody Omega, Cody Mox, which there was an interesting tidbit in the Observer about that, which we're going to get to. He got booed because he was natural at being heel, but he refused to turn. Him putting himself out of the title picture was coughing for being in AEW long term. He could never be a top guy. 2019 Cody is not 2022 Cody. At the time, Cody thought he was being unselfish, but it ended up screwing him in the end. His ego also screwed him. I used harsher words for that one. He saw himself as a bigger star, and maybe in 2019 he is. But in 2022, with CM Punk and Bryan Danielson and the star AEW has, he's at best fifth on the totem pole. Plus, Tony Khan is so good at his status, his status would have flustered. In WWE, he's probably the third biggest guy, but I said biggest, but he's going to be presented as the biggest guy. To WWE, Cody is the best person they can get right now, and they think he'll be presented with ideas that can keep everybody fresh. What WWE doesn't realize is Tony Khan keeps AEW running, not Cody. yes, Cody's stuff was the best thing on screen in AEW, but Tony Khan is the visionary. Plus, Cody will get more money, and Tony Khan saw the value of other guys over him, and I think that's what Cody got offended over. Your reaction to that whole?
I think there's some stuff in there that are maybe solid points. I think, however, like the whole deal with him pulling himself out of the title picture, and it being this unselfish act, and that's like the public marketing of it.
Right.
I always kind of had a different view on that, and then seeing how this whole thing is played out and the Codyverse and everything else, the separate camps, the the world that Cody isolated himself in, him never really going around the top 6 people because chances are he would have to lose to them because he would be essentially a very high level gatekeeper that kind of forced him to wrestle lower members on the roster. So, and this was his idea. This wasn't Tony's idea to put this stipulation on him. However, it also was known that Tony Khan's first 4 champions were decided before the company ever started or, a show was booked. So for me, it's not really all that unselfish to challenge or not challenge for the championship when it was never meant for you. So
right.
like all that does is you've taken a bunch of money matches off the table for whatever reason, whether you don't want to lose to anyone at the top or you have like personal issues where you don't want to work with somebody. Like the him and Kenny stuff I thought in the Observer was pretty fascinating when Dave was saying, because he kind of gave it away without really giving it away because Dave just won't say they don't get along. Like he says that, the Bucks and Cody were cool for the most part, and they would, work together on business. But Rhodes and Kenny, they don't have a relationship outside of business and only really get together to discuss business. But when I look at the history of AEW, there was no business. So,
right.
So that's a mighty convenient way to avoid somebody. And also, I don't know whose side it was on, but chances are, you look at when the company first started, they were both baby faces. They wouldn't be in each other's way. It was almost like a Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart thing. If you guys are both heels, there's no reason for you guys to wrestle for most of the time. Where you guys are both baby faces, there's no reason for you both to wrestle. And then like the Cody, title thing, that's like, down the road, there's, if you can't challenge for the title and he knows Kenny's going to be the champ for a year, that's kind of convenient. And on One Nation Radio, I kind of get into conspiracy theories about wrestling and what people are really trying to do, and all my signals are going off right now with what Cody was doing. I think it also came to like with all that, the his sequestering himself into the Codyverse the last like 7 months. It's been no secret he's kind of struggled with his crowd reaction. There's some people that will claim that this is exactly what they were going for, this is the desired reaction. I disagree, because there was a lot of baby faces they had him in there against. They would put him out there against Dan Lambert and it would be a disaster of a segment. The crowd would side with Lambert. He just started struggling around that Go-Go feud, and I would argue he's been struggling since he put over Darby Allin for the final time, or the only time, in Full Gear 2020, and after that he was kind of like lost in that Codyverse stuff. Like the Go-Go feud flopped, then the Malachi Black kind of underwhelmed after a while. Him and Andrade was, it was cool, but it wasn't really there. He kind of regained, a better form when he was around the TNT title again, but I think it was too late. And I think he inadvertently tanked his own value in kayfabe by like this real life thing, which like when it was time to sign you, and it was like, yo, you want the paycheck of like someone that's the number 1 or 2 star in the company. It's like when you're TK, you're like, I can't give you that because I can't use you at the top and I'm not breaking my stipulations. And then thinking about how he's never been around any of the people, I've heard all these people talk about these matches they didn't get to do, and it was like on TK, and it's like, if I can't use you at the top, all I'm going to do is weaken you anyway. So might as well just keep you down where you're, could be semi-useful, which was helping other people ascend. And I think he's a bit overrated in that regard. Like, as far as like, people have said he's this star maker and all this other stuff. I'm like, I mean, the guy that turned out to be what looks like his mortal enemy is a bigger star creator for me. Look who the world champion is right now. So I don't know, man. Like, there's a lot to this, and then you look at it, and it's like, well, if I can't get everything I want out of AEW, if you're Cody, which means either the raise or like the booking power, philosophy, all that stuff, like there's nothing in it here for him, like at that level, because he's going to be at the same or just continue to go lower as all the new signings keep coming in. So the best move for him, like, is the move that he didn't really choose to make, but he just kind of got
forced to make.
He was kind of forced to make that move that, well, I guess I'll call WWE, and then of course WWE will be like, hell yeah, we'll take you. Like AEW's been taking the wrestlers for 3 years, so he'll break the bank. He'll get like he'll fail up off of this essentially, and him going to WWE is crapshoot. Anything can happen. The smart move would be for them to push him as a top star and have him as the WWE champion by SummerSlam, right?
Right.
But
do you have faith that they will? No.
Yeah, they're not really known for doing the smart thing. But yeah, man. What do you think about like the whole Cody and Kenny thing?
I think the whole Cody Kenny thing is sort of like this whole dynamic of like trying to one-upsmanship, It's a whole deal of like, this guy is here, so I'm gonna one up him.
Mm-hmm.
And like Cody wasn't on Kenny's level ever. So there was that professional jealousy there.
I feel like it's a story as old as time. It's like two guys think they're better than the other. So, and they dressed it up, I think, for as long as they could. And then people started seeing it, and there was no taking it back. And I feel like there's just all these like these breadcrumbs, and I'm not going to do it, but I feel like there's a study to be had, like looking back at all their promos and the stuff that Cody would just start saying that Kenny wouldn't even really like buy into, like when it was the first promo of the pandemic, and Cody was talking about the 1 and 1A star and all this other stuff. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, we're all worried about the pandemic and the world ending and all this other shit, but it's just Cody wanted this tension, which is he was in the I'll never turn, and he was like playing with that tension, and that tension just like led him out of the company. And in September, I like, we on One Nation Radio, we've been chronicling this Cody Rhodes thing extensively. Every time it would go really bad, it would be like a come to Jesus segment on One Nation Radio, trying to diagnose everything that's going wrong. And in September, I was like, if he keeps fucking around with this, I could see him out of the company. I never imagined it would be that fast, like within 4 months of me saying that. But this is a good reminder, I think, for everybody, like the great utopia that AEW's kind of marketed itself as. And, at the end of the day, it's wrestling. Like, and this is a good reminder for everybody. Like, there's going to be, competition for spots, for money, egos going at it. But I think, for the most part, like AEW's managed, like I've heard more positive stories out of AEW than I hear about most companies, right? But, it was bound to happen somewhere. It was bound to happen somewhere. And, you throw Brandi in it, and that's like a whole nother element to this. And I don't want to, get too much. I feel like Cody's like the main story, but the Brandi stuff is, it seems like it was just like, it's like, hey, like Tony was like, I can get rid of 2 headaches at once. I'll go ahead and do that. Like, and the interesting thing is like Tony letting the option not pick up, because he could have rolled the option over and kept him. But I feel like he sensed Cody was unhappy, and he was like, yo, I'll just let you out.
Right. And to that aspect, he is an honorable employer, because he's like, you're unhappy, you're gone. It's not like anything personal or anything like that. It's more like, you're unhappy, you're gone. And you're gone. And there's nothing more to it. There's nothing what more could I have offered you in Tony's case to that I could offer, realistically, that it's going to make Cody happy.
I think Cody was really stuck on the booking thing, and he's very hands-on. And the Sports Illustrated piece that come out, I believe it was Barrasso that said something about Cody losing that booking power that he thought was possibly on the table was a bigger loss than anything he took in the ring. And I don't know, man. I kind of like the Tony Khan way.
Right. Because with that, you're going to a company now who controls every aspect of everything you do.
Like they control
that's the irony of it.
Right. And I guess there's maybe there's a feeling for Cody that he'll eat the shit in WWE, but he's not going to eat the shit in AEW because he, was a founding father per se. But it's, I think it's like ultimately, I think AEW is going to be fine. They're going to be able to slide people right into, Cody's role. I think there was a feeling in the air on Dynamite where people were going out there and it was like every person that came out there was just more over than the last one, and there were no weird reactions to people, and it was like, wow, this is like straight baby faces and heels, like the old days of Dynamite, where there's not like this part of the show that everyone's just like, what is happening? There's no car crash going on. And I think I don't think AEW got worse off this, especially with all the new talent that's coming in. And this is good. Switching people up, because like there could be a day like Kenny's contract comes up next year. Could something similar like this happen to him? I don't see it. I feel like he would. I feel like TK is like would break the bank to keep Kenny personally, but you never know. It could happen. Kenny could be in Cody's shoes next year, where it's like you look around and like, I don't know.
Winter can wreak havoc on your skin. Hey, it's Kayla, and it's not just the weather, but as a new mom, I've seen my skin change in ways that I'm not too happy about. But that's where the Skin Center has you covered. Their most popular treatment is Botox because they're the best at it. They've been ranked a top 10 provider in the nation by Allergan Aesthetics, the makers of Botox. And their best facial is what I got. It's the HydraFacial. It exfoliates, extracts, and hydrates all at once. So save your skin from these winter blues and DM at the Skin Center MD on Instagram and mention code Kayla to get $100 off your first Botox or filler treatment or any skincare package.
If we're going to pay you this much going forward, but I think, like personally, I feel like the Bucks and Kenny mean a little bit more to a lot of AEW fans, and Cody's like always been. He's always been the WWE guy,
right,
and he's built a sizable fan base on his own, and I don't want to take that away from him, but we lose some bleeding in the middle of the show and some of the like old school stuff that he was doing, but I feel like he should have.
But we still have that with Daniels, and we still have that with Mox, so it's not like we're not losing that aspect of the show. Per se, we're losing it with Cody. That's the only person we're losing it with.
Right. And, I think Cody should have played it a lot smarter. Like, I feel like there's no excuse for him not doing a program with Mox at some point. There's no excuse with him not wrestling Hangman before he was the champion. It was like, it only leads me to think he didn't want to necessarily lose clean to these people. Like he'll let someone beat them if they're unhooking a belt from a ladder. If they spit mist at him or something, or squash him in like 4 minutes to where it looks like he was blindsided or something, he'll take that. But these weren't like there was like one real loss for him where he had a lengthy match where it was like 18-20 minutes. The guy just comes out, beats him clean, and it was Darby for the TNT title after he had lost him like 3 times already. Everything after that, or besides that, you're looking at ref stoppages, shot
diamond ring
in the face with the diamond ring, just a lot of buffoonery anytime he would lose, right? So like that goes back to the star creator thing. It's like, he had a great hand in helping Darby. Won't take that away from him. But everyone else after that, like the Sammy thing, like Sammy Guevara was doing awesome already. Cody may have helped a bit, but it wasn't like he laid his shoulders down for him. So it just, for me, it feels different. But I don't know, man. Like it's a new day, a new era, and I'm pretty excited for it. And
I feel like it reinvigorates AEW because at the same time, you can't tell me like the new stars coming in aren't as fresh because Cody was getting old after a while.
Very still. That's why people started booing.
Yeah. So it's not like, and that wasn't happening with Kenny. That wasn't happening with the Bucks.
Yeah, because smartly they turned themselves early to like avoid anything like that, and I think people got a real education on who the political masterminds are, kind of, and everyone always just assumed the guy in the suit had it all figured out, but maybe it was the guy in the shorts and the guys in the shorts and tank tops that had it all figured out, how to navigate the fan reaction, the backstage, the owner, the booker, but I think Cody,
right, and I don't think like the Bucks, that Dark Order segment, that end of 2019 thing, that could have really gone sour for the Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
And let's remember that was a Bucks segment that the Bucks, they turned, they're hotter than ever. They win tag team of the year 2 years in a row. And they feel like they're a top drawing act again. They win match of the year 2 years in a row. It's like the Bucks never stopped because they took it upon themselves to say this is a wake-up call.
Right. I am looking forward to seeing Cody shows back up at WWE, what his presentation looks like. If it reinvigorates their environment. That first promo that he does, I'm gonna definitely check it out and see, what it looks like, what it feels like. I just have no confidence in, where it could go for him. I feel like, an easy story, would be like him and, someone like a Seth Rollins or something like, Seth Rollins is Mr. Stand Up for WWE. So let him fight, Cody. If it was me, I would have Cody go over him at WrestleMania and then like build up Cody for, SummerSlam. And they're going to be in a stadium, I think, or Money in the Bank. They're going to be in a stadium for Money in the Bank. He can win the Money in the Bank briefcase. He can, outright challenge for the belt. Whatever you got to do. I feel like it would be like Vince McMahon's being handed something he hasn't had in a long time, which is somebody that's seen as a star, right?
Right.
And that's like, Cody's 36 years old, I think. So he's even younger than most of their main eventers, which is interesting because they took, they had Bryan Danielson. You would think, oh yeah, fresh out of retirement, we're gonna push him to the moon. And it just took a long time. It felt like, there was a mercy heel turn to do it and, all that other shit. But they should be able to do something with Cody.
Vince McMahon was gifted like this, and you never know what he can do now. If this was like 2005 Vince McMahon, you may think he can hit this out of the park. This is 2022 Vince McMahon. And with the output, seeing Happy Corbin and Madcap, I'm like, when I saw that in the world, it was my first time seeing Madcap Moss.
Yeah.
I'm like, bruh.
It could fully go down. They could book him against Otis, and then we're pointing and laughing at that point. But I don't know, man. Like what do you think of the fact that Cody, first, what do you think of the stipulation? Like, what do you think that effect or the stipulation, the effect the stipulation had on how he was perceived and
Right. I think how he was perceived, it was a double entendre. Like the people who knew, like really knew, like booed him. People who really knew booed him, were sticking to that. People who cheered him and wanted to be by his side, it was a double entendre. And it was a big shade of gray. And it ended up being like a cluster F the entire time he was in the company, because it screwed up a lot of things, because no one knows how he could be presented.
Yeah. It's unfortunate because he really had a lot going for him in 2019. And I think that he got long in the tooth, and then he never had he's always seen himself as the star, like as an ace. And I just don't, if he turns heel, he will lose at the end of the day. And then I think that would have been beneficial for him. Like personally, let some people go over you. Like at the very beginning,
he has his father syndrome.
Jericho, Mox, Pac, it's the thing. It's like, bro, like the Bucks were putting everybody over at the beginning. Kenny was putting over everyone at the beginning, and then they always had somewhere to rise back from. Cody, he was just he made himself this quote unquote tragic figure so early on. It was like there was never another way. And I'd be interested to know, and I don't think we'll ever know this, if Cody asked to break the stipulation during negotiations or something, and Tony was like, no, we're not going back on that, and lying to the fans and stuff like that, because it would be fascinating. Let's just say that.
I would think he did. I would think 100. I would put money on that and say 100% he asked to break that stipulation, and Tony Khan would say hell no, because Tony Khan, one thing that Tony Khan does do is he sort of stokes, he doesn't believe his fans are dumb,
Mm-hmm.
and if this was WWE, they would think their fans would forget in 2 years, and that ain't happening with AEW fans.
Yeah, and I think AEW is just generally under they're under a bigger microscope than WWE. They can just have terrible shows after terrible shows and no one cares. But something AEW happens is companies closing. So
it's not gonna happen. Tony knows that. Tony knows that, and he's like, I'm not letting anything that can be criticized on my watch.
It's amazing that he actually let Cody go, let him walk, and there's a budget that's in place, and a lot of people always call Tony Khan this money mark and all this other stuff, and it's it sounds like somebody that has a keen idea of value and planning around television contracts, and there's going to be a lot of people due for a raise, coming up. And I think that, they're going
if this was a money mark, Tony would have signed Cody.
Yeah, he would have signed him for $5 million and never been able to use him as a top star, which would have been dumb.
Waste of money.
And I think their television deal runs through the end of 2023, which is why I think Kenny took that 4-year deal, because if you can see down the road, the second TV contract will go that long. Yeah. So pretty interesting times, man. So
yeah, it's just though the Kenny and the Bucks, they took those options and they said, yeah, because they're more valuable to AEW than Cody is. A. B, those TV rights deals, we don't know if that bubble's gonna burst, first of all. And it's like what are you gonna do if the bubble bursts? These are questions that Tony Khan has to factor in.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why Chris Harrington's employed there.
Right, Chris Harrington will take all that. So Yeah, man, that's pretty much all I've really got on it. Like, I'll make sure you guys check out. Like, I'm gonna be on One Nation Radio, and I'm gonna light them up in another way. I wanted to do two kind of different, takes on it. So this is like my more like straight laced. Hey, here's my thoughts on the situation. One Nation Radio, we are coming for the jokes.
We are coming for no, and like the asinine takes by wrestling media. It's just been.
What have you seen?
I've seen like some asinine takes, like Cody, Cody's the reason why the ratings have been tanking, stuff like that. Okay, buddy.
Think about it like this. AEW already has plenty of experience operating without Cody Rhodes. He's gone on several hiatuses and filming things and missing pay-per-views. Like, it's already happened. So, I don't think they'll miss a beat.
I don't think they'll miss a beat either. It's just like they. It probably happened this week where it happened because the rating was bad.
Yeah,
it was a legitimately bad rating this week.
Right.
But like some of the takes like it's just like trying to figure out if they should have signed him, keeping him there, trying to justify him staying there. It's just like asinine on both ends.
Was you ever predicted that, there's always been people like trying to figure out who the first like jump from AEW to WWE would be? Did you ever think it would be Cody?
Part of me would have said yes, because
really, why is that?
Because part of me would have been like, Cody wasn't always comfortable.
It wasn't.
Part of me would have been like, no. Cody wasn't always comfortable with, being a second fiddle.
Mm-hmm.
Ring of Honor, he was top guy, top shelf. 2019 Cody. That's where he wants to be. The biggest fish in the goddamn pond. And he's not that anymore.
Yeah. That's pretty much all I got on it.
Yep. Where can people find you, Rich?
Yeah, you guys can find me at RichLatta32 on Twitter. You can find me on One Nation Radio, co-hosting with James Boyd. We normally stream Monday nights on Twitch, so join us for the live Twitches. I see Danny in there sometimes, joining us in the comment section, giving us some good laughs to keep going. And make sure you guys keep listening to Great Match Generator.
Yes, Great Match Generator on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. I think next episode is going to be done next week, because it's just I've been busy a lot. Like work has been hell with it. Hell, not like hell, but you know what I mean. It's like getting a job done, watching matches. It's hard, to sit down for 2 hours and watch like 4 matches. But me and Adam Erie get it done, and it's always a fun time. And I am at DJ D Kooks on Twitter. Follow the network at Social Suplex, and follow the rest of the boys, keeping it strong style, 8-Bit Suplex, AEW Match Guide, everybody, and they'll do it.